Well, welcome back to CC's Garage. It's January the 2nd, 2023. Man, where's time going? Want to wish us all a happy new year. Today I'm going to get started. I'm replacing the steering box on the truck with the one from Red Top. If you look, there is very little play in my steering wheel. So like I said, that's not the reason I'm changing it. The reason I'm changing it is it's been leaking. I have gone ahead and gone to the car wash and sprayed degreaser on around the power steering box, on the frame, up under the frame a little bit. The reason I know that the power steering box is what's leaking is when I get under there, any of the fluid I find under the truck is on the driver's side, but it's got a red tint to it, which I run Mercron 5 or just regular ATF for the power steering, which is what Ford calls for most of their vehicles. You get the regular ATF off the shelf, or not ATF, you get the regular power steering fluid off the shelf, and there's no standard to it. It can have whatever additives they want or any of that. Now there is an exception. Your Asian cars like Toyota, Honda, when you see one of those, it does have a standard to what's in the power steering fluid. And with the Ford stuff, which I use it on my Mustangs, you'll find by running the Mercron 5, ATF, whichever way you want to call it, it does away with a lot of that whine in the box because they're designed to work with that. So I'm going to get off here for a minute, get everything set up, and we'll get the truck jacked up, get this front wheel off, and then we'll start changing the box out. Okay, I got it up, got the front tire off, got it on jack stands. And like I said, I cleaned it, but I couldn't get in here good because of it being lowered. But you can see power steering fluid dripping off the bottom of the box. So, get tired of filling it up, get tired of having it there. We're going to get it off here. I've got to pop the pitman arm off. These 3 bolts, and then I've got to undo the rag joint on the end of the steering column. Hopefully, I think I've got a rebuild kit for the rag joint around here somewhere. I'll be buying that, or putting that on while I'm at it. So, I'm going to get off here and get started on tearing this down. If there's any complicated part or whatever, I'll bring it back to you. I'll show you a little bit as I go. If you ever want to watch me do more disassembly instead of just showing you what it's like after I get done, let me know. Oh, and there's the new bump stop I put on. God, I'll be glad to get rid of all this oil getting under the truck. Okay, there was a bracket that bolted right there that held the brake line, which I wasn't using it anyhow. I don't know if you can tell where it's wet right there between the main gearbox and the hydro part of it for the power steering. But that's the only place I can find it leaking. Let's see if I can get... I've already got under here and pull the pitman arm nut off. I went to Advanced and picked up this pitman arm puller set. Never used one like this before, so we're going to find out how it works out. We'll get it up under there and get it done. I'm not planning on pulling anything other than that pitman arm off. That way, hopefully I won't have to have the truck realigned, but, you know, I probably will. So, let me get off here and get it... Well, I'll just leave it set up and let you see what I'm doing to get to the point. Get my tripod undone here. Let's see. Yep. Don't you love how I make sure I'm in the right spot and use my hand? And there's different ones of these, which that one's definitely not going to work. This one says it's a tie rod puller in the instructions. Which I tell you one thing I hate is you get these and people have abused them from renting them and not taking care of them. So and I guess instead of this I could have used two-jaw puller, or something like that. Well, of course I probably would have ended up with the same problem I'm having here, is getting it to go in just right. There we go. Okay. Now with a $300 core deposit on this box, I don't want to mess this shaft up. So I'm going to go find me a socket or a piece of pipe I can slip over these threads and that up inside of it to help hold it in position while I run it up. So I'll be back in a minute. Well, I run into a problem. Even with the right tools, it wouldn't fit up there. Pull that off. So I went ahead and pulled the drag link in loose. I've already undone or loosened these bolts up that hold the 3 bolts that hold the box. So now I've got to just pull my power steering lines off and unhook the rag joint where I can pull it the rest of the way out. And then I'll get that pitman arm off after that. So I'll bring you back in a few. Okay, I got the old box out. Once I got it out, I was actually able to use the pitman arm remover. This part goes up against the frame, so it has to, the teeth have to go in over this part to get it out. It lined up perfect then. Now some of this oil that's on here is where I was pulling it out and it started leaking. But as you can tell, there's, well, let me cut the light on since I didn't. Yeah. That's supposed to be a seal, I think. As you can see, the seal was wore completely out there. And like I said, it was leaking around this part, which I probably could have just resealed that and it would have been fine. But that's probably the original power steering box and all for the truck. And they had, you know, what, 71, 2001, the truck was 30 years old, and it's going on 03, so 50, about 52 years old now. And then we got the, get around here to the new one. God, I got too much junk in the floor, too many projects. And here's the new one. Looks a lot nicer. As you can see, it's sealed different here. Sealed way better. And when Red Top does it, the reason they're called Red Top is they paint this top cap red. They also go in, there's a worm gear and a ball bearing for the sector here that when it turns, you turn the shaft, it turns, sets up and turns this part of the shaft down there for your steering. Well, what they do is they measure the clearance in the worm gear and then they put a ball bearing back in there to take up any excess slack. So they actually go ahead and rebuild it and add a few extra items. And on these pumps, they didn't come with a bearing, and I'm not sure where the bearing, in which part the bearing was in. It was more of a bush fed or just drilled out to the size they needed. So when Redhead rebuilds it, they go ahead and put needle bearings in place where that would have been. That way it takes a little less effort to turn it, which this truck turns great anyhow with the power steering. But it also helps cut down on wear and leaks hopefully in the long run. The biggest problem I had was getting the other box out. You have to come out through the top, at least with headers on you do. So I had to undo lines. I had to push the power steering pump down, and it was still a tight fit. It's not exactly the lightest, and I've gone back in and wiped down some of the oil. So now I'm going to get you set up and let you at least watch me struggle putting it back in. Let me get the camera set up here in a place that you can watch what I'm doing. Oh, let's see. Well, that's not the best spot. Trying to also get it to where I won't mess my camera up as I do this. Okay. That seems to be an okay spot. Oh. Now this thing comes with bolts put in it at the shipping points to protect the threads. So you got to pull them out beforehand, which I should have done before I got you on video with it. Okay. Oh gosh. And there I go hitting the camera. What's holding me off down there now? Okay. And we'll get it set down. Now what I've got to do is I've got to realign the steering wheel where it was straight. I wasn't able to find my new rag joint, which, yeah, it really needs one, so I'll just have to come back a little later and do that. That's probably part of my play you see in the steering wheel. So let me get this figured out and set up. Okay, that's the way it was when I took it off, so that's the way I'm going to try to get it back on. Heck. Well, I'm definitely going to have to get that other rag joint. So, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to look through the garage again for it. And I'll bring you back when I get all that done. Trying to keep my greasy prints off the camera, so that's why it's taking me a minute. Okay, I got the rag joint off. As you can see, there's a piece of it. You can see where it's just delaminating, coming apart here. Now that was what held it to the steering column. This one I've got, there's a washer still holding on, so I'll have to get it off. But, yeah, cracked, oblong, just... And this is what the new one looks like. These things also act as a insulator to keep vibration out of the steering wheel from the suspension. They come with new bolts and hardware. Which is... But I've got to get these right here out. They spin in there perfectly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take, and I'll have to maybe go around it with a cut-off wheel. Looks like they've been just pushed out around the edges on both of them, or if I'll be able to just take a hammer and drive them out. So I'm going to get in here, get that done. Ooh, matter of fact, it is ripped right here. So definitely needed a new one. And it looks like it's ripped on this side too. So yep, definitely time for a new one. I'll run you back when I get it apart. Okay, I got it apart. I had to take a die grinder, where these were beveled out on the edge, and I just ground them back and then took a hammer and drove them out. But like I said, there's the new one, and as you can see, this one was shot. Look, splits on both sides. Which these are the same size. So what I'll do is I will take that piece there, will go like that. There's another piece that goes with it, goes on the other side, which is right here. So this will set back like that, and these will drive back through. From this side, which I bent that a little bit. I'll have to straighten it out. So what I'll do is I'll drive them back in, get them there, and then I'll set it up and hopefully be able to take and ping these back out to where it'll hold again. Okay, I'll bring you back when I get farther along. Well, it's the next day. I stopped last night because I ran out of daylight, and got up this morning. All I had left to do was hook up the power steering lines for the hydro boost and all that. So we'll get you a look here. There's a new box in place. All the lines. Now I did make a mistake in the beginning. These two lines on the box. This is the fresh one going in, and this is the return. Well, I hooked it up backwards, so the steering wheel will just start jumping everywhere. So like I said before, I only had the only reason I changed it was because it was leaking. The steering wheel still does about the same as it did before. And of course I got the horn button out to put a new one in right now. But you see, actually, yeah, you can tell there's less play in it than there was before. Oh, hopefully I don't get demonetized for that one. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not getting any monetization anyhow. So I'll finish this up and get this video out to you. Thank you for watching CC's Garage. I'll see you next time.